Bangladesh seems to be on the boil, viewers. There are protests, there are demonstrations, and there are lockdowns against the interim advisor who seems to be pushing the pedal even hard on clampdowns. The latest flashpoint is Yunus's changed rules that can ensure that any civilian bureaucrat could be dismissed quickly, could be removed fast. But this is just one of the many fronts that the Yunus government is battling. The growing rift between the interim government and the army chief, the growing clamour for elections, even among political parties close to the Yunus regime, are all matters that are leading to a situation of growing instability in Bangladesh. So we ask, is Bangladesh on the boil? And the questions that I'm going to put forth to the panelists joining me on the show, the big questions that we always ask on India Global, the big questions that we are tracking right now on Bangladesh, given the fact it is on the boil. First up, has the interim government lost its legitimacy? That's the first key question that we are putting forth. Next up, as far as Bangladesh, has the army chief and the Yunus power tussle actually intensified? There's been chatter about it the last couple of days, given the fact that army played a very key role in propping up Mohammed Yunus's regime. So is that power tussle now impacting stability? Next up, will Yunus actually now hold elections sooner than the December deadline? There is clamour that's growing from all quarters, and will Yunus finally succumb to that pressure? Next up, the big questions that we are asking, has the bureaucracy now turned against Yunus? This actually now is the latest protest. The fact that the secretariat was locked down is no small matter. Has the civil bureaucracy now turned completely against Mohammed Yunus's regime? And lastly, that we are asking, that is the interim chief now essentially on borrowed time? He was interim. He was supposed to fix the country only to a point that elections can take place. Is he now overstaying his welcome? Those are some of the big questions that we are putting forth in this debate. Muktadir, Rashid and Veena, Sikri joined me on the broadcast to talk more about this. Let's try and ensure that we cover as much ground as possible without trying to instigate either side. And I'm going to give the opening word to Muktadir. Rashid, you are in Dhaka. I want to understand from you, how grim is the situation in terms of the power tussle that is going on, the clampdowns, the lockdowns that one is witnessing? The secretariat being locked down is not a small matter, is it, Muktadir?
Of course, it's not a small matter, because the Dr. Yunus-led government, which is supposed to hold minimum reform related to election and then go for a free, fair, and credible election. Instead of doing this, this 84 years old man now mess up with everything, everywhere, every institution. Other than a few pro-Jamaat elements are backing him. So the government of Dr. Yunus now as franchise, or you can say it's of a proxy of Jamaat, and it's basically playing the Jamaati's, whatever he's doing, it's just to show the Jamaat is playing in the back. So everything is like that. So whenever the Jamaat is playing a country, now whatever will happen, you are seeing right at this moment. And whenever I talk to the Islamic parties, they also say, look, we want the election to be delayed. So far, they are trying to make the interim chief convinced that it should be delayed, and they have no issue with that. And now, similar with the NCP, which is a franchise of Dr. Yunus, they are doing it the same way.
Okay, as I said, I gave you all the time. I let you speak, no interjections, because I want to cover ground. But the sense I get is that there's a certain amount of whitewashing of what is happening right now in Bangladesh is taking place here on the show as well. Veena, do you agree with that? Veena Sikri?
Well, I must admit straight away that Bangladesh is definitely on the boil. And the reason that they are on the boil is that Mohammed Yunus regime is now an illegitimate regime. It is an unelected regime. And as even it's the army which swore them in August last year as as an interim regime, not a caretaker regime, but an interim regime. But they were supposed to move towards elections. They have done nothing of the kind. And on the contrary, they have started action elections like reforms, which is not part of their mandate at all. They're talking about constitutional reforms and electoral reforms and police reforms, which is certainly not part of their mandate. And at the end of so many months, we have seen that the army, they had a meeting, their own internal meeting on the 21st of May, last Wednesday, almost a week ago. And in that meeting, there was unanimity among all the army officers present in their uniforms, even those serving in different places, peacekeeping operations, they were all on the Zoom link. And they all said categorically, number one, elections must be held by December of this year. But Yunus regime is trying to avoid that because they know that their popularity is falling. Every day their popularity is falling. And everybody is saying, Aage bhalo chilo, it was earlier, better, it was better earlier. So obviously they have not been able to fulfill any of the requirements. Even the economy is in a total mess. Factories are closing down, people are losing jobs, there is a huge amount of inflation. And, they're trying to import goods from other countries, trying to be anti-Indian, absolutely in the worst category of anti-Indianism, thinking this will get them popularity with the people. But this is not working. Mohammed Yunus is not his own man. He is supported entirely by the Islamist regimes, by the Jamaat-e-Islami and others. And in fact, he is not even fulfilling the criteria of a interim government because he's allowed political parties to become his advisors.
Okay, let's get in a response from Muktadir. I still want to come back to some of the specifics that we were talking about. The fact that there is a certain amount of power tussle between the two parallel power centers in Bangladesh, and many people are saying that it's actually now out in the open, Muktadir. How do you think that is likely to impact the stability of the government and stability of your country?
It's absolutely mad. And, the people are now in uncertainty. The very much uncertainty is rolling everywhere, from the business to education, from jobs to investment, everywhere. So, which is very uncertain. Even Dr. Yunus can simply announce the date for the election. He couldn't do that. Like Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina was very adamant, and Dr. Yunus is following her path, and which is very unfortunate because it's not the emotion.
Sheikh Hasina was in power for 15 years. Mohammed Yunus hasn't been in power even for 15 months. So how is it that Mohammed Yunus is showing traits of being so dictatorial in his approach and the heavy-handedness with which, of course, he is addressing issues which frankly are not in his mandate? Muktadir?
Absolutely.
He's supposed to he's supposed to understand what he should do. The people are now started revolting against him, and it's a very bad sign. And he was very respected on 8th August, but now he is not as he was in August 2024. So he should understand. And few of the people within the government, they are misguiding him. Probably they want to stay in power longer time, although the government publicly claimed that they want to hold the election within June of 2026. So why don't they give any time for an election?
Exactly. I want to get in a word from Veena Sikri, who wants to come in. Yeah, go ahead, Veena.
I'd like to say, you spoke about a tussle between the army and Mohammed Yunus. I'd like to say that in Bangladesh today, the biggest source of stability and authority is the army. It is the army who appointed Mohammed Yunus. So it is the army which is now telling Mohammed Yunus that, please, you are not fulfilling the mandate of your government. Look at the fact that they have tried to change all the laws of the regime, and even government servants are now liable to be dismissed just without even a cause. So this is creating a lot of furor among the government servants. The Bangladesh Secretariat is closed. All the school teachers in the villages have joined in the protest. So obviously, Mohammed Yunus is not fulfilling the aspirations of any group in the country. I think the only answer today is that the army must take back the power, must appoint a caretaker government, and hold elections within the next 6 months. That is the only answer. And the election must be free, fair, and inclusive.
Fair and transparent and quick. That's the whole point.
They must. This of banning the Awami League is all wrong, because
absolutely. You can't have an election if you ban one of the parties. Actually, I'm going to leave it there. But Bangladesh is a story that we keep coming back to simply because it's so very important for several reasons. Thank you so much, Muktadir, Rashid and Veena Sikri, for taking out the time and joining me on India Global. Well, viewers, as far as the bottom line on this issue is concerned, Mohammad Yunus was supposed to be a man in hurry. Hurry to reform, hurry to build institutions, hurry to hold elections in Bangladesh. But somewhere along the way, he has lost track. And this is not going down well with the army. In fact, some of the Islamists mainstreamed and released by Yunus has upset the arrangement with the Bangladesh army, which frankly, in fact, propped up the Yunus regime to a large extent. With growing dictatorial instincts by Yunus's government, it's affecting governance. And the growing chatter about the army getting out of barracks in Bangladesh is now a very disturbing fact that India will have to watch very closely.